Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about what I appreciate about ENTPs as an INFJ. ENTPs are fun to be around. We really connect through our intuition and our introverted thinking because ENTPs have very strong introverted thinking. They really like to analyze things. So even though they're extroverts, they really like having discussions about things, questioning things. So even though they are extroverts, we can usually have intuitive discussions, and it's really nice to have someone to talk to about intuitive things. And I really like the fact that they are like me in terms of they don't really care about rules. They're not conventional. They don't just do things because other people are doing them. They really question things. I know two ENTPs pretty well, and one of them is like always telling me things like how a lot of their family is religious and they kind of had it in their upbringing a little bit, but they always questioned it. And I'm like the same, I naturally question things. Like they always have their own, mind. Like she questioned these things from the beginning. She wanted to have her own opinion and it just didn't make sense to her, right? And that's why we can really have the same view on things. We can really have discussions about things, kind of trying to understand the world. And a family member of mine he's also always questioning things and having his own opinion on things. And the fun thing about ENTPs is that they always have like a reason. That doesn't mean they are not sometimes convinced that they are always right, but they do have reasons, they do have, like, they're not just saying things. They have their own like explanation for things, their own reasoning. So they can really be good people to have discussions with, which I like as an INFJ, being intuition dominant and also using introverted thinking a bit. They're also just usually generally fun to be around because they have good ideas, like ideas for doing fun things that are not boring. They also have extroverted feeling, so with their NEFE, they can be pretty social, depending on the person, of course. One of them I know is pretty social, and I mean pretty extroverted, and the other one is kind of more ambiverted, so she's a bit more quiet. But they can have really fun ideas and original ideas for doing things, doing fun things, just having fun with people because they are extroverts still. And when they're good people, they can be pretty loyal, and I also appreciate that about them. Yeah, so ENTPs are the only NT type I really know, as in person, because I don't really know any INTJs and ENTJs at this point very well because I guess they are kind of rare. And also, I don't think I would have a lot in common with ENTJs necessarily. Then we have INTPs. I do know some INTPs, but we usually don't really connect. I don't know many, but I've seen them around, and I feel like there's too much distance between us in a way, probably because their feeling is so weak. Whereas with ENTPs, they still use feeling relatively frequently, so it's kind of like. Also, we're both intuition dominant, so we have that intuition connection stronger than I have with INTPs. So yeah, I guess this is the only NT type that I know in person, and I appreciate them for being able to have like fun times and discussions with them, sharing our intuition, our ideas, especially intellectual discussions, because they are pretty serious and we can analyze things and learn things together. And I guess that's also generally an NT thing, right? Which is what I appreciate them for. And being original, thinking out of the box, having fun ideas. The only thing is, I don't really have many conversations with them about, for example, relationships. There are certain feeling topics that they don't talk about that much because they are thinkers after all. But I just talk about those things with the feelers, with the NFs. Which is funny, like for example, with an NF type, I could have conversations about relationships and maybe a bit more deeper into psychology. But with the NT type, with ENTPs, first of all, sometimes they do like talking about psychology because it's like they kind of want to talk about everything, but they're not as interested in talking about relationships as the NFs would be. Especially talking about feelings, is that where they kind of are not interested that much anymore because they don't really live with their feelings all the time that consciously. It's not something they think about that much. One of them I know really loves joking around, and the other one just analyzes everything and has a very like serious outlook on things rather than emotional. But for example, with an NF type, I noticed that sometimes, I don't know any other INFJs, but what was funny is that I could talk with one of my ENTP friends about like a theory I had about the universe, like how it came into existence. And she was actually interested in hearing it, and that's the fun thing about them. It's like, I guess, we're on the same level in our mind of like, I can talk about super non-tangible things like the universe, and they're still interested in imagining it and like thinking about it and theorizing about it. And even though I could never talk about that with a sensor because they would be like, I don't care, what the fuck are you talking about? How does this have anything to do with my life? And I wouldn't really try talking about it with, for example, an ENFJ because that's also not interesting to them, because it doesn't have anything to do with either real life or like relationships. So yeah, they're the only ones so far that I was able to talk about this topic with without them like not being interested. So yeah, that's why I appreciate ENTPs as an INFJ. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye!